Hey guys, how you going? This is Billy Eat World, and on this week's episode of Weapon of the Week, we're taking a look at the SR2. Sorry I missed last week's episode. I know I took a look at a few weapons during the Hardline beta, but it's too early yet to really nail down my favourite loadouts for the weapons in that game, so I think I'll wait till the game comes out to bring it into this series. Also, this loadout was kind of a spur of the moment thing. I was just playing around with it randomly and I had quite a lot of fun, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. I'll get back to subscriber suggested loadouts next week, so don't worry, I do have a few on my to-do list from previous comments, but as always, if you've got a new one, feel free to suggest it in the comment section below. But anyway, the SR2 is a gun that I previously liked, but it never really blew me away because like all of the PDWs in BF4, it does a ton of damage up close but a lot less damage at long range. Since I last played around with this gun though, a few patches have come out for the game, and I think what's most drastically changed about the PDWs is that the assault rifles and carbines now do 24 max damage. The SR2 still does 25 damage at point blank range, which might not seem like much of a difference, but when you consider damage is dealt bullet by bullet, this means it kills in 4 shots and not 5 like the ARs and carbines do. It also fires at a ridiculous 900 RPM, meaning that it blows even the AEK away in time to kill, except of course, as we'll talk about later, if you're shooting at an opponent running the defensive perk. Now, speaking of time to kill, the SR2 has almost the exact same time to kill as the AS Val, making it theoretically the fastest killing weapon in the game out to 10 meters. It starts to drop off pretty substantially beyond this though, and weapons like the Val, AEK and FAMAS have all started to catch up by the 15 meter mark. Like I said before, the defensive perk affects this gun pretty drastically too, because it reduces damage to the chest by 10%, and as the stomach and limbs also have negative multipliers, you won't be able to land that guaranteed 4 bullet kill. Even without the defensive perk upgrade, to reach its best time to kill without a headshot, you'll need to land every single shot in the chest hitbox, which is something that you're pretty unlikely to be able to achieve consistently. So bearing all of this in mind, the SR2 does have a small advantage over the other PDWs, but in reality the Val is going to eat it up with its higher damage model, so what else does the SR2 have to offer? Well, most of its stats are pretty similar to the Val, but it's got a lot less vertical recoil than most of the PDWs, but this comes at the expense of a fairly high horizontal kick. It does jump around a fair bit, but in all fairness, I'd prefer a high but balanced horizontal recoil pattern than a weapon that pulls to one side like the Val does. Also, the SR2 has a capacity of 31, which is 10 rounds more than the Val and 5 more than the MPX, meaning you have a lot more room for error and a lot more ability to take down multiple enemies with one mag. Now, probably the only disadvantages of the SR2 would be the fact it's got a very slow muzzle velocity and a fairly long reload compared to the other PDWs. The long reload is especially annoying if you're a fan of guns like the M16 and ACWR, and it doesn't help that the damage model and muzzle velocity of this gun sort of forces you into close range. The way I run this gun is to sort of play to these disadvantages by using a Cobra sight, suppressor, laser sight, and of course the integral vert grip. This loadout isn't going to help you with any precision long range shooting, but it will make the SR2 even more of a beast in close quarters, and it will keep anyone watching the minimap off your back. But anyway, the moral of this video is don't judge a gun on raw stats alone, because things like hitbox multipliers can really influence how a gun plays out in-game. Sure, the SR2 is a great PDW and it does have a time to kill advantage over just about every weapon in the game, but remember this all goes out the door unless you land headshots or you're shooting unarmored targets. The same applies for any weapon with a damage model on the cusp of the exact bullets to kill mark, for example any of the PDWs that do 20 damage. A lot factors into whether a gun is good or not though, and all in all, I've got to say that the SR2 is a lot of fun to play with and definitely one of my favourites, so if you haven't already checked it out, make sure that you give it a try. But anyway guys, that just about wraps up this week's episode of Weapon of the Week, so if you've got a weapon and customization you'd like to suggest for next week's episode, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. As always, if you like what you see, please remember to like, comment and subscribe, and if you haven't already, please check out all my other Battlefield 4 videos. I've got them all linked in a playlist in the description below. But until next time, see you later, and have a good one.